On September 14, 2005, the state of Texas executed Frances Elaine Newton. She became the first Black woman executed in Texas since the Civil War. To some, she was a cold-blooded killer. To others, she was a victim of a broken justice system. This is her story. On the evening of April 7, 1987, Houston police received a call about a shooting at the Westmount housing complex. Inside Frances Newton's apartment, officers found a scene of devastation. Her husband, Adrian Newton, was slumped on the couch, shot once in the head. 7-year-old Farah was in her bedroom, killed by a single bullet. Her baby son, Alton, just 21 months old, lay lifeless in his crib, also shot once. Each member of the Newton family had been executed with precision. Police noticed what wasn't there. No forced entry, no broken locks or windows, no valuables missing. The apartment showed no signs of robbery. To detectives, this pointed to someone inside the home, or someone the victims trusted. While officers processed the scene, Frances Newton waited outside. Witnesses recalled her as composed, almost too calm. She wasn't screaming or collapsing in grief. Her clothes were spotless, and before police even asked her a question, she insisted, "I didn't do this. I came home and found them like that." But her demeanor, combined with inconsistencies in her timeline, immediately raised suspicion. The investigation turned when Frances's cousin, Sandra, gave a statement. Sandra explained that Frances had visited her home earlier that evening, carrying a blue gym bag. She said Frances left the bag in her storeroom before the two of them went together to Frances's apartment. When police retrieved the bag, they discovered a .25 caliber Raven pistol. Ballistics tests later claimed the bullets that killed Adrian, Farah, and Alton were consistent with that gun. To detectives, this was the smoking gun, the murder weapon hidden by Frances herself. But why would a mother kill her husband and children? Investigators uncovered the answer in financial records. Weeks before the murders, Frances had taken out 3 life insurance policies. One on herself, one on Adrian, and one on the children. Together, they totaled more than $50,000. Experts testified Adrian's signature on his policy was a forgery. To prosecutors, this was clear. Frances killed for money. In 1988, Frances stood trial for capital murder in Harris County. The prosecution argued she was cold, calculating, and driven by greed. They reminded jurors, 1. She showed little visible grief. 2. She gave shifting accounts of her whereabouts. 3. She hid the pistol in her cousin's home. 4. She forged her husband's signature for insurance. The defense countered, Frances only moved the gun to protect her family, fearing Adrian's ties to drugs and dangerous associates. They pointed out missing evidence, a broken chain of custody, and the lack of proper forensic testing. And Frances herself insisted, "I loved my babies. I would never hurt them." But after just 5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict: guilty of capital murder. The sentence, death. For nearly 2 decades, Frances lived on death row. She wrote letters, prayed daily, and never wavered in her claim of innocence. Supporters rallied to her side. Amnesty International called her conviction unsafe. Legal experts criticized the ballistics evidence and urged modern testing on the weapon. Even the Texas government faced pressure. Hours before her execution, international appeals reached the governor's desk. But the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles unanimously denied clemency. Governor Rick Perry refused to issue a stay. On September 14, 2005, Frances Newton was led into the Huntsville Unit execution chamber. Strapped to the gurney, she prayed softly. At 6:17 p.m., the lethal injection began. Minutes later, she was pronounced dead. Her final words, "I know you want to know if I did it or not, and I can't answer that. But I love you. I am at peace to the state." Frances Newton was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Her calmness at the crime scene, the shifting story, the pistol in the blue bag, the forged life insurance policies. Together, these details secured her conviction. But to her defenders, the case remains clouded by doubt. Evidence was mishandled. Tests were never performed, and a woman with no history of violence was put to death. Frances Newton's story forces us to confront a haunting question. When doubt remains, should death ever be the answer? What are your thoughts on this case? Share them in the comments below. And if you want to see more true crime stories told in full detail, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel.